Hello, friend. I want to tell you about the Ford Puma car. City cars are best for the city, but they can be boring, unattractive, and difficult to please the eye. That is why an equally small coupe is a great alternative to a small hatchback, especially when it is not at all more expensive to buy and run. One of the cheaper and more interesting options on the market is the somewhat forgotten Ford Puma. Ford Puma engines. Which one to choose? The range of Ford Puma powertrains was modest. The basic 1.4 engine with 90 horsepower cannot do much. The engine does not really fit the sporty character of the car, although it is enough for everyday driving. According to the manufacturer, it accelerates the Puma to 100 horsepower, h, in 11.9 seconds. This is a good result. If you buy a Puma, at least with the 1.6 DOHC engine from the Focus. Like the smaller 1.4, it is a design developed together with Yamaha. Light and reliable, it develops 103 horsepower and provides a sprint to 100 kilometers per h in 10.1 seconds. However, it is the 1.7 VCT version that is really interesting. The 1.7 VCT engine was created exclusively for the Puma and was used only in this model. It has variable valve timing and eagerly revs up to 125 horsepower at 6,300 revolutions per minute. This is enough to accelerate the Puma to 100 horsepower, h in 9.2 seconds, and to a maximum speed of 203 horsepower, h. What goes wrong with the Ford Puma? While we're on the subject of engines, only version 1.7 was equipped with the VCT variable valve timing system. Later, the solution found its way to the 1.6 engine, but only in the Focus 2. The so-called variator is responsible for controlling the camshaft, which is the only critical and troublesome element of the engine. The quality of its work and durability is the oil, and it must absolutely have a viscosity of 5W30. Its correct level is also important. Therefore, for those who do not care about power at all costs, we recommend a slightly simpler 1.6 engine. For the city, and as an alternative to the Fiesta, you can also choose the weakest version of the Puma, Edian Cedian. In each of the engines, we recommend replacing the timing drive every 120 to 150,000 kilometers, and the oil no later than every 15,000 kilometers. In the 1.7 version, it is best to do it every 10,000 kilometers. In each of them, ignition problems are most often the result of a damaged coil, and we do not recommend installing a gas system in any of them. Ford Puma users may complain about sporadic, minor failures of the heating and ventilation system. Usually, the control module or minor issues in the electrical system are to blame, the heater control solenoid valve or corrosion of the installation. General, minor electrical problems are common in this car. The lights are weak, equipped with unusual HB3 bulbs, which are not easy to buy at a gas station. It is always worth having one in reserve. Corrosion is another problem with cars. Although the Puma does not rust at an alarming rate, because it was made well, corrosion on the wheel, arches, sills, tailgate, or, in extreme cases, even in the floor should not be surprising. When buying this model, first of all, check it for this aspect. Repairs in this area are made difficult by poor access to body parts, which are also increasingly difficult to buy on the secondary market. Contrary to appearances, the Ford Puma is considered a reliable car. It very rarely refuses to obey to the point that it is impossible to drive. This is also partly a result of relatively low mileage. Thanks to its simple construction, it is easy to repair. Is it worth buying a used Ford Puma? In our opinion, yes, provided that you choose a relatively well-maintained model from the end of production. When buying a Puma 1.7 VCT, you have to be ready for a one-time expense of around $800, -$1,300, and then you will become the owner of a small, sporty, crazy car. You can also choose a different engine version and enjoy an eye-pleasing alternative to a small hatchback in the A or B segment. Thanks for listening to me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and rate my video. If you know of any problems with this car that I haven't mentioned, be sure to write about them in the comments.